Gyeongbokgung Palace is one of the most visited attractions in South Korea. After much of it was destroyed during the Japanese occupation, the South Korean government has painstakingly restored much of it to its former glory. The significance of this palace is due to the fact that Korea's most influential historic leader, King Sejong, once ruled and resided here. It is situated among several mountains which add to the grandiose feel of the palace as soon as you walk through the main gate. The most well-known attraction at Gyeongbokgung is the Throne Hall, where matters of the state were handled by the appointed rulers. It is massive and impressive, both in and out, with its elegant and detailed trim. After the Throne Hall, other main points of interest are the Council Hall and office quarters, Sujeongjeon, where Hangul, the Korean alphabet and writing system, was created. Gyeonghwaeru Pavilion, which is surrounded by water. It was used for special banquets and royal rituals during the Joseon dynasty. The previous living quarters for King Gojong, and Palace Library. Gyeongbokgung Palace is a large area with many other buildings, and to try to cover them all here would be fruitless. The ones I mentioned are the common sites, and where you'll see most of the selfies being taken. Gyeongbokgung is situated in a bustling part of northern Seoul city. Bring a good pair of walking shoes and a nice camera. There is a lot to see. If Gyeongbokgung is known for its stately posture, Changdeokgung is known for its harmony. That is, harmony in the way it was designed with the natural lay of the land upon which it was built. Changdeokgung consists of the main palace halls and a very large garden area called Huon Secret Garden. Changdeokgung is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and remains as one of the most well-preserved royal palaces from the Joseon dynasty era. After entering through the main gate, you'll be met by the Throne Hall, a double-deck structure that is the main building of the lot. The prominent buildings to see at Changdeokgung are the Council Hall, King's Residence, the Queen's Residence, and Old Royal Shrine. The Huon Secret Garden is typically seen through guided tour, though on certain days visitors can traverse the course on their own, as I did. The gardens were meant for an escape for the royal family to relax and take a break from daily activities. There are pavilions, gardens, streams, ponds, shrines, and many other embellishments that make the Secret Garden a unique and memorable visit. There's also a 300-year-old tree at the gardens. There are actually 16 points of interest identified at Changdeokgung and Huon, so trying to highlight them all wouldn't do them justice. I guess you'll just have to see it all for yourself when you get here. Jongmyo Shrine is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and was the central worship location of Joseon dynasty forefathers and relatives. It is said to house the spirits of past kings and queens of the Joseon dynasty. The architecture at Jongmyo is very simple in comparison to the grand palaces. The central building is made up of multiple spirit chambers of past kings. This broad, sweeping structure is one of the most critical at the heart of Korean history, as it is said to house the spirits of the most revered kings. Also at Jongmyo is the Hall of Eternal Peace, also containing spirit chambers for other kings, queens, and descendants of royal families, an ancestral ritual courtyard called Jaegung, as well as other halls and structures which were built in remembrance of family and personnel of the royal lineage. The Jongmyo Royal Ancestral Ceremony, Jereak, is a yearly memorial service of music, worship services, and other customary rituals which uphold the centuries-long running event. The ak in Jereak refers to music, and this service is a slow, solemn style of uniquely Korean traditional music. Adjacent to Changdeokgung is Changgyeonggung Palace. The purpose of this palace was to serve as a residence for elders of the royal family. The main attraction at Changgyeonggung is the main hall of the king and its courtyard. The buildings of Changgyeonggung Palace are not 2 stories as with other palaces, since it was intended to serve mostly as a residence. Other important structures at Changgyeonggung are the main gate entrance called Honghwamun, the Queen's living quarters and complex, a greenhouse, rear ponds, gardens, and peaceful walking paths throughout. In typical Korean fashion, the building's paint exudes detail and vibrancy. Many of the buildings in Korean palaces are rebuilds of the originals, as many were destroyed or reattributed during the Japanese occupation. Because of this, the construction is often not decayed. Because of the historical significance of Changgyeonggung Palace, there is also a theatrical reenactment of the daily life of King Yeongjo, where visitors can follow a cast of actors throughout the entire palace complex. If you like historical Korean dramas, you can live it firsthand at Changgyeonggung. Deoksugung Palace is another historical residence for royal family. More prominent with Deoksugung is the contrast between the old and the new, as the palace sits starkly against the city backdrop. At all times you can see the modern buildings of Seoul in the background, which adds to the juxtaposed feel of Korea's yesteryear and where it is today. There is a unique contrast of traditionally historic architecture and Western-style buildings as seen with Seokjojeon Hall. The other main attractions at Deoksugung are the main throne hall, two-story private residence where King Seonjo lived and died, and Pavilion Banquet Hall. Deoksugung is an integral part of Korean history, and this, one of the main treasured palaces, is a must visit. You can comfortably see the entire complex in about an hour. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy your visits to the amazing Royal Grand Palaces of Seoul, Korea.